hospital. So I know it's been a minute since I've done a video, but I really needed to take some time to just really rest and recover from my surgery. But I'm back and so excited and ready to share more content with you guys. Okay, so I have a few questions that I get asked quite regularly. The most regular one I get asked is when I first heard of endometriosis. So I'll probably explain that a little bit in this video. And also the question that I'm getting asked a lot is, am I happy that I went ahead with my laparoscopy and endo removal? So I'm gonna answer those today. Okay, where to start? When I first learned of endometriosis, so I think for me, I was getting such painful periods, which, like I said before, I kind of always had a painful period, but now it was getting to the point where I was fainting because of the pain. The big wake-up call for me was one of the really bad episodes that I had. This was probably my first really, really bad episode. It was pretty much a normal day for me. I think I was getting ready to go to work or teaching or something, and I just got severe cramping, like severe pain. Like I can't even call it cramping, to be honest, because it was severe pain. So I remember just running to the bathroom, and I realized that I got my period. So I was like, okay, it's just gonna be a really bad one, I guess. I went straight into bed. My mum wasn't home. My dad was actually outside cutting the grass. So I was inside all by myself, and I remember just crying. I was crying so much because of how much pain I was in. And then I just remember screaming. Like I screamed so much. I tried to yell out to get my dad's attention, but obviously he was on the rider mower and he could not hear a thing. So I was just, screaming in so much pain. I tried to call my mum. She wasn't answering at first. Then I'm pretty sure I called my grandparents from what I remember. Yeah, we got a hold of my mum. My mum was trying to call my dad, and then I think dad finally picked up the phone, came running inside, and realized that, I was screaming the house down in so much pain. I couldn't walk. And then came the vomiting, quite severe, so I vomited quite a lot. Thank God my dad was there. He was holding my hair back, rubbing my back, and my dad, for someone's dad to have to witness that, like I can sit here and be like, oh my God, what a champion. At the time, let me tell you, I wasn't laughing or smiling about it. I was in a lot of pain, and it was to the point where my dad was the one who made the call and was like, nope, I'm taking you to the hospital, we're going to the hospital. And this was the time that my mum and grandparents met my boyfriend for the first time. So I remember getting on the phone to Blake, and I was like, actually, I don't even think I called Blake. Oh no, I did. Getting on the phone to Blake and explaining to him what had happened. I was in emergency, and he pretty much left work straight away and came straight to the hospital. So that's what happened. That's my really bad attack that I had. And then I remember just sitting in hospital. They were just giving me heaps and heaps of painkillers, doing a whole bunch of bloods and stuff like that. And they actually thought I had appendicitis. So this is where a lot of things can go wrong also, by just going to a regular emergency room or just a GP. They don't specialize in endometriosis. And that's something that I really want to get out there and let people know, is that to help with endometriosis or polycystic ovaries or something like that, you really need to see a gynecologist or a specialist in endometriosis. So that was the biggest wake-up call for me, knowing that going to hospital, they're not going to really be able to help me. The only thing that they're going to give me is pain relief. They did have a gynecologist. They called one over the phone actually in emergency because they really didn't know what was wrong with me. My appendix, they tried to do an ultrasound. They couldn't actually see my appendix. Apparently your appendix likes to hide every now and then, so they couldn't see my appendix. And they got a gynecologist on the phone, and she pretty much said, you really need to consider that you might have endometriosis. And I remember looking at my mum and thinking, what is endometriosis? It's such a big, long, scary word, and you're just like, what is endometriosis? So my mum, straight onto Google, sitting there in the hospital, and that was when we kind of saw the symptoms. I had them all. we learnt about how scary endometriosis is and can be. So pretty much what happened from there was the hospital really couldn't do anything else for me but stabilize my pain levels. I was sitting at quite a low pain level, so they were able to send me home. I was there all day though. I got in really early in the morning, didn't get let go until I think like 1 a.m. or something. So finally went home. The next day, my mother went above and beyond, trying to research the best gynecologists, specialists, surgeons, endometriosis specialists, anything that there was to kind of help me. Called up. The earliest appointment I could get was like 4 or 5 months away. So I was stressing out hard and I was just in hysterics, I guess, because I was like, I don't know if I can live through this pain for 5-6 more months. Like, I'm not sure, but we booked in that appointment. I was on a cancellation list also. Then we also sought another gynecologist and specialist, which I could get into, I think it was the next week or something like that. From what I remember, I was like, yeah, the next week. So I was like, book it in. Let's just see how we go. Driving on the way to that appointment, I had a call from the other specialist that I really wanted to see because I heard he was just the best, and I was so excited that I even got an appointment with him. I was really stressing that it was like, you know, a few months later, but I was so excited that I even got in. So got a call saying that they had a cancellation for the next day. And to me, that was like, it was meant to be. Like, my prayers were answered. Like, I got in. So I still went to see this other specialist and gynecologist that day. And look, I think everyone, you know, that studies medicine and helps people and stuff are amazing. But I just didn't feel comfortable with this particular gynecologist. I feel like it was all going to be completely rushed, the process. He wanted to book me in for my laparoscopy straight away. He wanted to insert the Mirena, and that was all happening in the same operation. And to me, I didn't know much on the Mirena, and I didn't really know what was involved in a laparoscopy or what was happening, and it was just too rushed. The appointment was too rushed for me, and I just didn't feel comfortable. So I'm so glad that I ended up getting the appointment the next day with this specialist that I had my heart set on, and that was honestly the biggest blessing because I went there. I felt so comfortable. He really talked me through the process. He pretty much set out a plan of what the future was going to look like for me, and it was all just such a calm and relaxed environment, and to me that's what made me feel really comfortable. And I then knew, no, this is the gynecologist and professor for me. So I was so happy with how that went. And look, the laparoscopy list was a really long waiting list, so I was willing to wait but this time because I knew that I was in good hands and I felt completely comfortable. So that is like another big message that I have out there for the women. Find someone that you are comfortable with and that you do have trust in and faith in to perform such a procedure like this. And then pretty much was a waiting game to see, you know, when I was going to get in for my laparoscopy. He also did give me an anti-inflammatory and painkiller to try and ease the pain for my next couple periods that I was going to get, and they worked. So all the other medications that I was taking weren't really working, but these two, he just knows his stuff so well. They worked for me amazingly. But you know what? Every period is different. And there was another flare-up that I had, which was just agonizing. And this is quite a story. So I was on my way to a personal training session with my PT Dan Adair in Bondi. And Bondi is like about an hour away from where I live. So my mum was driving me in that day. Thank God she did, because I wasn't due for my period, I think a couple days later. So decided to come early, but how exciting. Yeah, mid PT session, just doing regular exercises that I never really had problems with. And I think I got 3 exercises in and I was down and out. I was crunched over. I I try to stay really tough in the public. So when I'm at home, I'm like screaming, crying, like it's really intense. But when I'm especially in a gym, I try not to scream and cry in front of people. So yeah, I was there with my PT. He'd been my PT for like 3 years or something. So he knew very well the pain that I get. And he knows that once I'm out, I'm out. So he walked me to my car, and he knew that I was not in a good way. So I ended up sitting in the car, sweating. I went pale as, and that night I had actually surprised my boyfriend with Ed Sheeran tickets. So we were meant to go to Ed Sheeran that night. And I remember saying, Mum, I'm still going to Ed Sheeran. I was crying and sweating and pale, but I said, no, Mum, I'm still going to Ed Sheeran. Went to a hairdresser in Randwick. Couldn't even get out of the car. Walked to the hairdresser, got there, looked at myself in the mirror, seen how pale I was. My ears just blocked, completely blocked, couldn't hear anything. There was a bit of a ringing sound that was happening, and then I passed out. So, wow, I can kind of laugh at it now, but it definitely was not funny, and it was just so horrific. And my mum straight away was like, do I call an ambulance? Randwick Hospital's right around the corner. She ended up pretty much carrying me. Oh my God, my poor mum. She had to carry me to the car and take me straight to Randwick Hospital. They got me straight in. I remember screaming in the emergency room, I pretty much probably screamed the whole hospital down. I was in that much pain. They got me straight in, straight to a bed, and they had to do a whole bunch of tests. Now in Randwick Hospital, there is a section for women only, so the Royal Women's Hospital, and I was so happy that they had a women's section because they knew exactly what I was going through. I was still in the mindset that I was going to Ed Sheeran. Nothing could stop me. I wanted to go to Ed Sheeran. So I remember they gave me a whole bunch of pain medication as well. They put me on a drip. But I was like, no, Mum. I was looking on my phone, counting the hours, how long I had to get ready, how long I had to get there. At this point, I hadn't even told my boyfriend that I got my period. I hadn't told my boyfriend I was in hospital. I hadn't told my boyfriend I passed out. I didn't want to worry him. He was at work. And we had Ed Sheeran, and I wanted to make it exciting, and I didn't want to worry him until it got to the nitty-gritty. And I remember just being devastated. I cried so much. And I just felt so horrible that I couldn't go to Ed Sheeran. The nurses pretty much came in, and the doctor, and they said, look, you're not going anywhere, sweetheart. They ended up keeping me 2 nights, and it was quite a painful period. I was clotting a lot, so passing clots was extremely painful, and it was just not a good time. So that's when the process really started to get sped up in terms of laparoscopies and more gyno appointments. So that was pretty much, passing out, vomiting, ending up in hospital, missing Ed Sheeran. I remember calling my mum had to call my boyfriend because I was just not in a state to talk. And I said, look, I still want you to go, please go. So he ended up going with his beautiful mum. Thank God, I'm so happy they still went. It was just, it's amazing. You don't really notice until then how much this condition can, take away from you. You can't go to some events sometimes. You can't go to work, or you lose your job, or you end up in hospital, and it is just such a horrible, horrible condition. So I guess my biggest message and advice to women out there who do experience these symptoms or do have this condition and take themselves to a regular hospital. I found that every time I ended up in just a regular hospital, I wasn't really getting the help and education that I needed. It wasn't until I did go to the Royal Women's Hospital or like a women's facility or clinic that I really did get the help that I needed and the relief as well. So that's my biggest advice. Please do your research. Please go to somewhere where it's like a women's only kind of clinic, because that is where they're going to understand you the most, and they're probably going to have the most knowledge about it. So the other question that I really just want to answer is, am I happy that I went ahead with my laparoscopy and endometriosis surgery? Yes, I am so happy. I feel so good at the moment. So I have really just needed to take time to rest and recover though. Pain-wise, I don't really experience any like surgery pain at the moment. But it's more just the fatigue side of things. I think I just get really tired really easy, but that is all a part of the process, totally normal. And I've just been really listening to my body and resting when I need it. Not doing anything too crazy, obviously can't exercise and stuff like that just yet. So really just still trying to live my best life though. I'm still going, you know, to watch my boyfriend play soccer, go to lunch with my girlfriends. But I also have my follow-up appointment with my professor on Friday, so it's currently Monday. So any day now, which I'm really excited about. Can't wait to see him again and find out more about what went on in my surgery and what the process is from here. And I can't wait to share that with you guys. But thank you so much for watching another one of my videos, and I will keep bringing you content and information. I think my next upcoming videos are going to be a lot of like tips of, you know, little survival kits and how to get through a period, I guess, and also just how I'm living my best life, even with endometriosis. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all in my next video.